Hi, this is Charles 9mm, and this is another episode, if you will, of Have a Cup of Coffee with Me. I kind of did this a little bit because I think that some people are getting kind of tired of just hearing a product review, and this is a nice thing. That's a nice thing. It just gives me an opportunity to show you some other things. I am going to show you a product today, but and some other things as well. Some of the things I'm working on. And I thought it was kind of nice just to sit and have a cup of coffee with you. If you don't drink coffee, pull up and have a cup of tea or hot chocolate or whatever you're drinking. And but today we're going to have a little coffee. I'm going to finish up this last bag. I hate to see this go. This was a bag of coffee. I don't even know really the brand. It was given to me by a friend from Costa Rica who brought it with him. And it was just wonderful. There are so many good coffees out there. Again, I'm going to be using the AeroPress, which I love. This is great. It just gives you just as how I like it. I've had coffee from all over the place, all over the country and in other countries as well. And this is just spectacular. I'm not really fond of regular American coffee, the kind you would get like in a store or like in a restaurant, just your regular coffee that they make. I think they call it in Mexico, Café Americano. But I really like this kind of coffee. I do like espresso as well. It's very close to that. It's not quite espresso, but it is very good. Now, when as I said before, I make it upside down, and that's so that the coffee stays in contact with the water a little bit longer. I have already pre-moistened the filter. The filter, you just need to add a tiny bit of water and get that filter wet. It comes with filters, and that seems to help really well because it just gives it a little more pressure because there's a little bit of moisture already there. Now I preheated my coffee and in my thermos that you've seen in other videos as well. Let's just go ahead and make some coffee. Now, what I've been doing is kind of doing this whole thing, this have a cup of coffee with me sessions, so that just to relax a little bit. And there's so much hype everywhere on YouTube, and I just think that people just need to have a calm moment. You can go back to your video games and your Star Wars and stuff later, but every so often you have to just stop and just take a breath and look around. Went outside. It's been raining for days. We're absolutely saturated. You can see the sun's out. I had to look up and look online to figure out what that bright light was because I haven't seen the sun in a long time. It's been terribly rainy, but now we have wind, or I would have done this outside, but you couldn't even hear me. I couldn't find any way to get the microphone to work, and I was going to heat the water outside, but I really don't want to start any kind of a fire with it blowing like this, so we're going to go urban style and come indoors. I stir this coffee a little bit, and then I put the lid on, give it a squeeze. I really like this. So you can take it anywhere. I know there are some very expensive ways to make coffee, and I'm too cheap to buy the little cups and all little machines and stuff like that. Maybe they work great for you. I'm not real a fan of them. I've had some very good coffee made in very expensive espresso machines, the great big ones in restaurants and fine restaurants where they pull the big handle and but I don't know, maybe it's because my taste buds are dead or something like that, but yeah, I'm not terribly impressed with it relative to anything else. This is good enough for me, and plus I can make it in about 20 seconds. I use two hands. It's not because it's a lot of pressure, it's just that I like to control it. I like it to be made at a certain rate. If I make it too fast, it'll squirt out the side. You can smell it already. It's really good. Really, really good. I can't smoke my pipe in here. I go outside. I set my pipe down. It blew halfway across the yard. Wasn't good. So I thought we'll make the best of it. Just come in, have a cup of coffee with you. There we go. like this. It's not much of a mess. Salute. Oh, man, that's good. That's good. Wonderful. The AeroPress. Somebody wrote me recently and said, hey, Charles 9mm, I bought that. I'm using way too much coffee. It's too expensive. I was using 1 tablespoon, and this takes 2 tablespoons. Well, there is a trick. Make less. What you want to do is don't fill the water reservoir up so much. Go about 2.5. Put in 1 tablespoon of coffee, and then when you put it in your cup, add water to it, and it'll make the Cafe Americano, American coffee. It'll work just fine. You don't want to add more water to the AeroPress. Go ahead and dilute it in your cup. That'll work just fine, and keep your coffee bill down if you drink a lot. I'm mostly a mate drinker. I drink a little bit of black tea, but I don't drink. I drink a couple cups, maybe a cup or 2 a week, and it's just for my own personal preferences. And so I drink it straight. I drink it very, very strong. Fantastic. Well, let's go down, and we might as well do a review while we're here. If you remember, I was doing a review of Lem's shoes. This was a couple years ago. I did these Lem's shoes. I'm still using them. I like barefoot shoes. You'll see back when I was running before I was injured, I did a lot of running, long distance running. I was doing half marathons and so forth. So my average was 10, 13 miles, and I did it mostly in kind of barefoot shoes. Done a little bit of barefoot. I didn't like that too much, so I did it semi-barefoot. For daily use, I got used to not wearing shoes that were very heavily constructed. I didn't want to have that kind of a cast on my foot, so I went to these Lems, L-E-M-S, Lems. This is a privately owned company. Gosh, they're a great company. And these are a couple years old now. I've had to polish them a couple times, but other than that, they're beautiful. A little bit dirty. Hardly any wear. You would think with such a thin sole, because remember, you can just roll these up. There's nothing to them. They're more like a moccasin with a sole. This is not the top. Your foot's not here. Your foot actually drops down. It's a very, very thin sole. This is really just the side of the shoe, the boat of the shoe coming up. So that's when you see this outer sole come up like this. It's not really that thick. That's not how high off the ground you are. You're only a couple millimeters off the ground, really. And look at this. You can just twist these up. These are as good as the day I got them a couple years ago. They're fantastic. And I wear these almost every single day on concrete, and they're holding up like a champ. Now, I also, in the wintertime, I've been using the Boulder boot. These are all dirty. This is the Boulder boot, and I have beat the crap out of these. I've worn them in the snow and so forth. These are also a couple years old. Fantastic. The only thing that's happened is I get a little bit of a separation. I think it's this one here. I get a little separation in the toe right there. That's it. These are nothing. I mean, nothing's happened to them, and they're soft, like wearing a moccasin. If you like to wear moccasins, but you don't want to look like you're going to some kind of frontier rendezvous thing, and wearing buckskin. You just want to look like a normal person. This is fantastic. These are great, and they have held up. Do you believe these boots are a couple years old? I've done nothing to them. See, that right there is just where the glue is separated. That's not wearing through the leather at all. That's just the glue, and I just left it. It didn't do anything. It didn't hurt my feelings any. So I wear these in the winter, and the rest of it, we don't have much of a winter here, and so the rest of the time I wear the 9-to-5s, and they're great. You like nothing on. Now, what I've done also is I've got the new chocolate ones, and I love these. These are relatively new. And they're also 9-to-5s, the darker sole, so it doesn't show up. They don't look like boating shoes. And again, that's that great fit. I love them. Lem's shoes. Check them out. You're gonna love them. A couple other things I want to show you, and I think this is probably going to be a long video. Hopefully, you can sit through it. I taught myself to knit. I've done a lot of like this paracord stuff. I'm pretty good at it. Not like some of these guys on YouTube who can make anything. It can make a fender for a truck out of paracord. Excuse me. And I thought, what's the difference between knitting and tying paracord? Except I get these two knitting needles, and so I started using them, and taught myself to knit. And I like long scarves, although we've had such a warm winter, I don't know when I'm going to wear it. But I like a long scarf. I got some 100% wool. This is this long already. And probably going to add probably another foot to it before I'm done. And I really like this wool, and I use these really nice looking rosewood needles. These are 5.5 millimeter needles. That's great. I love this, and it's not itchy. A lot of people go, "Oh, it's itchy. It's wool." It's not. You have to buy the right kind of wool. So probably go in the closet. Won't use them this year because of the weather. But next year we'll probably get blasted with snow. Anytime I ever get my winter gear all ready, then we have a really warm winter, and I don't use it till the next year. But it's been a lot of fun learning how to do it, and I think it's probably a bushcraft skill. You know, it seems like it to me. I would, you could get some fiber and of some sort, if you had a source of it, and make yourself some very warm clothes. I also taught myself to crochet, and I'm also trying to make myself a crochet hook. This crochet hook is made out of pear wood that's been dried for a few years. I've got to try it a little bit more and see how that goes, but bushcrafting your own tools, nothing like it. Also, I've been working on a hat, and I've had this hat going on for quite some time, and finally got a chance to finish it. It's made out of an old the remnant. I made a poncho out of a remnant. The part I cut off when I was making this poncho out of an Italian military blanket, and it came out great. It really did. This hat is a high country hat. Probably looks a little bit funny. Kind of looks like a if you wear it like this, it kind of looks like a Russian Yashenka, you know, something like that. But if you pull it down, this is the warmest hat that I've ever had in my life. It dispels moisture really well. So if you sweat, it seems to absorb it and evaporate it much quicker than a knit fabric. And you can see that that this is made from a blanket, and I've stitched it with wool all the way around, and then I embroidered a Nadelweiss. Just in honor of my Austrian background, I embroidered a little Edelweiss. But this is a high country hat. This hat, you could take this hat, you could wear this hat on an expedition to Mount Everest. This is going to be warm 2 layers on your ears. It's virtually windproof. It takes care of the moisture, and it was made from a scrap of a wool blanket. Now, the thing you want to do, get it about the right size, get it stitched together, get it soaking wet with cold water, not warm water because you don't want it to shrink, and put it on and just let it dry. You know, you don't want to wear it soaking wet. Squeeze it out really well. This is a trick I learned from L'Oreal Beret Company in France with their wool berets. Just put the hat on and let it dry, wear it around the house till it dries. Your hair will be a little bit wet. You'll be okay. And it'll form perfectly. It'll be the best fitting hat you ever had in your life. This was made specifically for me. It fits like a glove. It's just contoured right to my strangely shaped head. And very happy with it. It's great. It's a really great hat. And looks a little rustic. It looks like you bushcrafted it. And this is the kind of hat that can save your life. It's really, really good hat. I don't know if I'd wear it to town, but it's great. Next, I want to show you, and I think I've shown this before. This is a knife I made. This knife was an old hickory butcher knife. It was broken, and I bought it off some Amish guys, and they pretty much ripped me off on the price. And I cut it. I cold cut it. Kept it cold, and so it didn't overheat and ruin the temper, which obviously it hasn't, because you can shave with this. Really, really something. I made this kind of in the style, not really because it doesn't have a stacked handle, but it's sort of that Sami type of Swedish or a Nordic knife, kind of short. This is just a workhorse knife. Left the scales real square. Fits really nicely. It's great. I've set it up as a belt or a neck knife. It's light enough too. Shaped the blade. I polished and tried to put as best of a Scandi grind on it that I could. It's not quite, but it's a pretty deep grind, and it works great. Doesn't have to look nice, but I have a lot of knives, and this is probably one of my best little bushcraft knife. It's not would not be your main knife, but this would be great for like feathering sticks or whatever little tasks you have, and you could shave with this. This is very, very good. Excellent steel they put on these old hickory knives. I have the sheath on, so I can't show you that today. But that's what I have today to show you. I appreciate you coming and having a cup of coffee with me, and I hope you have a great week. And thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. And I got to tell you, I really enjoy your comments. I always enjoy them. Everybody's been great, and this is terrific. Between the pipe smoking community and the bushcrafting community, you're all a bunch of really good people, and I really appreciate everything that you've done, and hope you have a great New Year and happy 2016. Thanks. Bye bye.